the infusion center for my first iron infusion. Okay, we're back in the room now for the infusion. They put in an IV. We're not going to use my line because the iron isn't compatible with Benadryl, and I'm hooked up to 1,001 things on my line. But I'm nervous now. We're doing Venifer. Technically, I have had Venifer in the past. When I was on Gleevec, when I was still in pediatrics a few years back, Gleevec was a treatment for my mast cell activation syndrome. It's like a targeted chemo. I think the actual drug class is a TKI, but anyways, it drops your blood counts, and because of that, my hemoglobin and hematocrit and red cells had dropped quite a bit, and they didn't want to give me an infusion. My doctor's, actually his exact words were hell no regarding the iron infusion then, because my mast cells were so unstable, and iron infusions are highly allergenic. But instead, they gave me the IV iron Venifer, but they reconstituted it to an oral solution to where I could put it through my feeding tube. And this was supposedly better than doing a regular oral iron supplement, because the regular oral iron supplements have additional ingredients with different fillers and preservatives, whereas the IV version, it was just the active drug rather than a bunch of other ingredients with it. And I was not supposed to be getting the iron.
You were not supposed to be getting iron?
I was supposed to be back on JPP by now.
She had an emergency surgery back in September, and they took out her colon.
I had a volvulus, and
Goodness, girl. I'm sorry.
And that was unexpected.
But just a delay, you'll get there, right?
well, they suspect I have something called chronic intestinal pseudo-obstruction, where I get bowel obstructions without a physical blockage. It's just my motility. And the muscles and nerves in my gut don't work properly. So it causes intestinal failure. So, and ever since, because they're so dilated all the time from the obstructions, it allowed it to twist and cause a volvulus. And they were originally just supposed to go in and fix the volvulus, but once the surgeon got in there, the damage was too extensive from so many GI issues that he couldn't salvage it.
So they're sending her for a transplant eval.
Oh.
We're waiting for one more test that has to be done, which isn't offered in this state. And then
Like
we'll
a
go to
colon
BC.
transplant? Is that
A small bowel.
Small bowel.
transplant.
My small bowels sucky too.
The whole 9
whole thing
yards.
is-
Oh, this is your iron.
It looks
Like soy sauce, doesn't it?
Or teriyaki, or
Yeah. What's your flavors?
what you want it to be, Shy. I take teriyaki.
You want it to be successful.
it kind of looks like a
right?
Coke.
Yeah.
So this will.
So it's going to go over an hour.
Okay.
I'm sure y'all hear those beats in your sleep.
All the time. I mean, it'll take it a minute to get to you because it's got to get through that saline line, but it's a coming.
There it is, folks.
My Coke. Looks like a Diet Coke.
Here, are you gonna finish talking?
Yeah. So when I did it then, the Venifer, I did not react any differently than I would have if I were doing to my feeds or my other medications through my gut. And I'm not certain if they were so worried about allergies, why they chose to do it. You would think if it was allergenic through your veins, and it's going to be just as allergenic through your gut. Especially with my gut, because I always react to things worse enterally versus parenterally. But I guess we'll see. I was told that IV iron infusions can cause a lot of bone pain and flu-like effects, even if you don't have an actual allergic response to it. But so they're doing a 25 milligram test dose of the Venifer. And then, providing that goes well, then we will go back for another dose. but we're running it over an hour. It is diluted in how many mLs was it? I think 25 mLs of saline, and then it's piggyback
It's 1 to 1, and then it has carrier.
Yeah, so I have extra saline going, and then it's actually diluted in more saline. So that's supposed to increase the toleration. I haven't gotten any yet, but I guess it's coming slowly but surely. And in the meantime, Silvino and I are just signed a contract on our DJ and videographer,
My
and
eyes.
we will be
They're like swollen.
filling out
It's this light. I don't
the
do
questionnaire that we're supposed to do with our deposit.
Okay, so
I wish I could remember. I know that they got though like multiple. I know my.
So far, so good. We finished the iron infusion. I got up to leave and just went down.
you fell actually on the floor,
Yeah,
and it took both. She and I both picked you up.
I went into one of those where one of my what am I saying? Where one side of my body goes paralyzed and I just can't even move, and I have my seizure and my head feels like it's about to pop off, but I don't feel like I'm gonna go into anaphylaxis or anything. Just weird neurological stuff. We did extra meds. I got extra steroid. We got Pepsid and a Benadryl, and that helped things enough to where I can get me home. I just didn't want them to transfer me to the ER because there's nothing they can do for a mast cell problem anyways, unless it's hugely epi-worthy. I did not have any delayed allergic reactions afterwards other than the fainting and seizure. I just feel like I got ran over by a bus and have a lot of muscle pain and back pain. So, I wanted to talk a little bit more. I'm editing a video for school, but I want to talk a little bit more about my iron infusion. The next day, I've had widespread muscle pain. It dissipated after 2 or 3 days and I was back to my normal. I didn't necessarily feel more reactive the next day, maybe a smidge with neurological type of reactions rather than allergic responses. But 2 days afterwards, my stomach has been a wreck since, with diarrhea, and yet my obstruction pain that I was feeling has been really bad, so I'm not even sure what is going on or if it was related to the iron or not. So I have another one scheduled for Tuesday to get a next dose of IV iron, but I canceled it because I'm trying to wait until these GI effects calm down before I do it again to see if it does the same thing. And I'm not sure when I'm going to have time to do that because on the 6th I'm supposed to have an out-of-state appointment and I can't be all a wreck for an out-of-state appointment, so it might have to wait till after that. And I'm supposed to have testing scheduled too for that out-of-state appointment, and that will be overnight testing, which will require hospital admission. So I might just have to wait till after that too. My plan was to get my labs checked on Monday for my TPN, see what my hemoglobin and hematocrit is. My ferritin, last time it was checked, was 0. It was literally like point something, 0.4. And the highest we've ever been able to get my ferritin is a 7. And that was with oral supplementation. years ago before I was this progressed. Usually when you get an iron infusion, it fills up your ferritin, which are your iron stores first, and then you will see the change reflect in your H&H. When I've supplemented in the past, my H&H will go high, but yet I won't get any iron stores. It won't store. I think there's a storing problem. They've done a bone marrow biopsy, but it wasn't conclusive. But my goal is to get labs checked on Monday, and if they were the same or lower, then go get the next dose of the iron that week. And then if they were, for some miracle divine intervention, if it helped and fixed my levels just from that minute dose, then I would cancel the infusion and just wait until my H&H crashed again. But I'm not certain how it's going to work because of my stomach. And I can't allow it to progress too much because that is when I end up in the hospital with bowel obstructions, and we don't need that right before all of these big appointments are going on. I've got to be able to make it to them, and to get the next iron infusion so soon isn't going to work because it could potentially make it worse if that was what was exacerbating it, or if it was a coincidence. It could have been a coincidence because it was revving up prior to the infusion, but afterwards it's definitely worse. But there are multiple factors that are always playing a role in these symptoms, and part of chronic illness is playing the guessing game of what it causes what. And unfortunately, most of the time, it is definitely a game to figure out.